It's time now for our Focus Report. And imagine this, you're not even 10 years old, but you're already working in the workforce, doing a back-breaking, gruelling job for as little as €6 a day. And that was reality for a young Ghanaian boy called Eric before he was discovered by a childcare worker and placed at a charity-funded school. Sadly, Eric is far from alone. In fact, the UN estimates that 1 in 3 Ghanaian children under 14 are engaged in child labour. Part of the problem is that parents simply can't afford to send their children to school. But our Ghana correspondent Katerina Vitozzi has been to meet one woman in the capital, Accra, who's trying to change that.
Which colour is this?
Lesson time at Lila's school. This kindergarten class looks like hundreds of others across Ghana. A key difference: education here is practically free. Parents pay for lunch and little else. They couldn't afford it otherwise. Lila MACQUEEN founded the school 3 years ago, paid for by charitable donations, housed in abandoned buildings. Its colourful classrooms, a far cry from the nearby granite quarry where many of these students used to work.
They were just cracking stones with their parents, helping their parents to crack stones. And then some of them were collecting scraps around. It's not because their parents want them to work, but it's because of the situation they are in.
Some parts of Ghana are enjoying economic good times. This isn't one of them. Those who carry the stones get the equivalent of €1 for filling a truck this size. Stone crackers get €6 per truckload. That's the job Eric was doing when Lila found him. He was just 9 years old.
I was cracking the stones with my auntie. And Auntie La saw me and she brought me to school. Maybe 4 years. 4 years I was staying in this school.
According to UN estimates, 1 in 3 Ghanaian children under the age of 14 are engaged in child labour. The government acknowledges it's a problem. Action plans and laws have been introduced to combat it. For starters, it's illegal for anyone under 18 to do hazardous work in places like this.
You want to bring your children here, then we didn't allow you to work here. Then we sack you.
So have you had to ever sack anyone who...
About 3 or 7 people or 8 people. We sacked them because they're children.
Yet despite the official threat, some still take the risk. Stephen KUMI's children are aged 8 and 10. They go to Lila school until 3 p.m. and then come here. Stephen's not yet been sacked.
I know that it's dangerous, but because of situation, I don't have money, so that's why they come to help me here. They are not happy because the work is hard. So the children are not happy.
UN experts on slavery and child labour wrapped up a trip to Ghana last week. They praised community-based projects like Lila's school, but stressed poverty was no excuse for child labour. They called on the government to prioritise the issue and ensure that every child has the right to learn and play.
Katerina Vitozzi reporting there on the battle to abolish child labour in Ghana. All right, let's get a wrap-up of all the latest sports action now, and we begin with cycling.
Russian entrepreneur Oleg Tinkov has bought the Saxo Tinkoff cycling team, which he's long sponsored. At a launch in London, the team was renamed Tinkoff Saxo, with Denmark's Saxo Bank moving to second sponsor. Tinkov has bought the management team of former rider Bjarne Riis, which previously owned the team. He aims to build the best team in world cycling.
Money is not everything, but that means a lot. Of course, we could buy and we will buy more riders, more stronger riders, more stars, if you wish. But we don't have to be crazy about that. For example, 2014 it's done. You know the Roadster, there's no news. But it's a long project, but 15, 16, 17 we will buy more riders.
The team will initially be built around Spaniard ALBERTO CONTADOR, who settled his differences with the Russian after they fell out during the Tour de France this year. It's very big news right now. There are teams that are disappearing. There aren't enough sponsors, and for a person like Oleg, out of his own interests and the great passion he has for the world of cycling, to make such a large investment is truly very, very good for the sport. The entrepreneur Tinkoff, according to media reports, has paid €6 million for the team founded more than a decade ago by 1996 Tour de France winner Rees. Rees has agreed a 3-year deal as team manager. French international Laurent Koscielny is free to play in next year's World Cup, despite being red-carded in the first leg of their playoff win over the Ukraine. The Arsenal defender was sent off for slapping an opponent and was at risk of missing several matches, but the FIFA disciplinary committee imposed just a 1-game ban. The draw for next summer's World Cup finals will take place this Friday in Bahia. 32 countries will be in the pots, including the host Brazil, who didn't have to qualify. Luis Felipe Scolari's team are joint favourites following their impressive performance in the Confederations Cup last summer. They beat World Cup holders Spain 3-0 in the final. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger casts his expert eye.
On ne peut jamais dire au départ que le Brésil ne peut pas gagner la Coupe du Monde.
Well, it's impossible to say at first. Brazil cannot win the World Cup. Do they have the same potential as in the past? I don't think so. They're not as good as they were in the attacking positions. They have great defenders. They also have very good and technical midfielders. But they may be lacking creativity, like we've seen in the past. Brazil have won the World Cup a record 5 times. Their creative hopes rest on the slight shoulders of 21-year-old Neymar, who joined Barcelona from Santos for €57 million this summer. Neymar seems to be a responsible guy, and I have the impression he never doubts himself. I never see him doubting. I don't think he has mental problems. The question will be, does he have the fantastic talent that everyone seems to be affording him? In last summer's Confederations Cup, Neymar won the Golden Ball for the player of the tournament and the Bronze Boot as the 3rd highest scorer. Brazil would become the first host nation to win the World Cup since France in 1998.
Well, that wraps up this slice from Live from Paris. But don't go anywhere. My colleague Stuart Norval will be back after a short break with more on our top stories, including those anti-government protests going on other sides of the world in both Thailand and Ukraine. You'll have the latest from our correspondents on the ground, so do stick around for that.